Catriona here from Slange, and I thought we would spend tonight going over all of the film and TV in Scotland. And do forgive me here. I'm trying a different device, which I think my camera's over here, that we can get started on. So, first of all, let me just make sure this is all getting shared out to all you folks. And do apologise, it's brand new Facebook software. So I'm having my first wee shot with it. So let's see. First of all, again, as usual, I'd like to thank you for joining in with me every single night. It's been really lovely. It's kept my sanity here while we're stuck inside and everything else. And hi, Joe, thank you very much. I hope you are too. I'm just getting used to this new interface here because I'm trying to see where you are and it's not the way it normally is. So my apologies for that. It's just to really get our film and TV legends. And I thought this would be a really great opportunity to talk about what we do normally, the film and TV that has really started to take over the Scottish economy. And I hope that it continues to do so as well. So one of the big things that we do is Outlander tours. Now, Outlander, I don't know if any of you know, is a TV series it started off in the US and it's now across the world. And we started doing tours of Outlander approximately, sorry, I'm just going to move this here, approximately, it's just behind me, approximately, it was 2015, so 5 years ago. So we started then, and we're one of the main tour companies who started doing them, and it was myself quite a while ago that started the Outlander tour. And if you have a look at this page, our old footage, our old video footage, even our old YouTube videos, you can see right from the very beginning, it was a very different beast back then. So that was good fun. And I often tell this story because a lot of people don't realise how I actually personally how it came about to me. Because I'd been guiding for about 2 years beforehand. And in 2014, I started receiving emails from our customers saying, "Hey, Catriona, we're really big Outlander fans. We can't wait to come to Scotland." And it was quite funny because I initially thought that they were talking about the car. So I thought, oh gosh, these people in America must really love Mitsubishi Outlanders or 4x4 or something. I didn't really know. And there was nothing really accessible online either at the time, which was quite weird. So I just shrugged it off, and it wasn't until February, early March of 2015 that I took a lovely group from Colorado around Scotland, and one of their requirements was to go to Dooncastle because two of the guys on the tour were massive Monty Python fans. So, no problem, took them down. And while we were standing in the shop, the ticket booth at the time, they only used to be one, one of the ladies said, "Oh, this is where Outlander was filmed." And I said, "Outlander?" what is this Outlander? And she told me it was a TV show from the US about Scotland. And so I went home, searched it up again, and lo and behold, it was there, but it was still not on our TV channels anywhere. I couldn't access it, not even on Amazon Prime. So I went ahead after a wee while and I put the date of the launch for Amazon Prime in my diary. And as soon as it came on, I completely binged it. And I'm so glad that I did. I became a fan so quickly. And the way that they had released it, it was the first half of season 1, because I understand there was a break with season 1 over in the States. So I managed to watch the first half, binged it. I watched some of the episodes multiple times, like the wedding episode, for example. And I think a lot of the ladies here will have done exactly the same thing as me. And then I thought to myself, well, I can do Outlander tours. And I started Outlander tours just before they started showing it again, the second half. And I've been doing Outlander tours ever since. I have been lucky enough to meet Sam Heughan, Diana Gabaldon, Katrina Balfe, Tobias Menzies now, Richard Rankin, Sophie Skelton. Like, I've met them all. I have been privileged enough to be on the show myself a couple of times. I was in season 2 and 4. I worked with Sam's charity, My Peak Challenge, way back in 2017. So I have been lucky enough to say quite simply that Outlander has kind of taken over my life to a certain degree. And over the past 5 years, through being interviewed by press and so on, I've been able to see the Outlander effect take place. When I first started doing Outlander tours, it was me and 1 or 2 guests at a time. Now you go to Doon Castle and it's manic. It's changed. They went from having, I think, 3 or 4 staff who used to work on rotation to now having, I think their last count was 15, which is quite incredible for such a place. The same with Black Nest. They've managed to do a lot of work, particularly for their bathrooms, because it wasn't really that great. And they have also employed new staff, and the same with Linlithgow Palace, and a lot of Outlander filming locations. So Outlander's done so much for the Scottish tourism industry. When I was interviewed back in 2016 about it. And by that point, I had already noticed my general sort of customer base. At least a third of them were coming to Scotland because of Outlander. And obviously my bookings and my sales kind of went up with that. So it was a really great time. Obviously things are a little bit, we don't really know what's happening at the moment. Things are going to be a bit quiet for a while, but it's a good time for us all to kind of relax and, catch our breath and get back to it soon. So Outlander has been very much a part of my life. And the same with other things as well. I know a lot of people who come come to Scotland. So hi Amanda. So you can't wait to come. Yay! So you had to move your date. Well, it's all good because you're going to come and everything's going to be open and everything's going to be amazing. So that's going to be wonderful. So that'll be, hopefully everything will be back to normal. Restaurants, hotels, flights, you won't have to worry about any stresses when you come. Um, so the next thing I was going to mention, a lot of people who come to Scotland, they talk about Shetland. Shetland was actually a TV show that I really got into, weirdly, before Outlander, I think. I mean, it must have been before Outlander. Um, Let me just have a quick kiki here. Here we go. I'm sure it was. Yeah, it was. I wasn't going mad. Yeah, it was back in 2013. So that was a really interesting show for me. I love crime dramas and things anyway. So it was really great. I mean, one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid was Midsummer Murders. So I found Shetland to be really similar to that because you have Shetland, which, I mean, let's just look at the population of Shetland. Well, Shetland is actually a series of islands, so I need to make that very clear. A lot of people think it's just the one. But yeah, so the main Shetland population is 22,990 people. So of that teeny tiny population, you have a murder every week of some description. So I absolutely adored it for that. And yeah, it's, if you haven't had a chance to watch Shetland, I think you can get it. And for those in different places, if you know where you can get it, it'd be really helpful if you can just post it in the comments. Now that we're all in this self-isolation, I thought this would be a really cool, great chat to have so that we have something we can actually binge, which is slightly about Scotland. Taggart, Kate, yes. Do you know what? I was never actually a Taggart fan. I don't know why. It's a total thing that I should be into, but I never really got into it. And I don't know if it was kind of my age. It was something that I never really managed to get into. But for anyone who's looking, Taggart is another sort of crime drama centered around this police chief. I think, is he called Taggart? I think he's called Taggart. Anyway, it's an iconic show about like a Scottish detective series. So that would be something I could really recommend you watch. It's not something I personally got into, but I know a lot of people did. And Hamish Macbeth, actually, Kate, Hamish Macbeth was one of my favorite TV shows when I was like wee. I must have been about, I don't know, 10 or something when that came out. And that's, for people who don't know, it's Robert Carlyle, and he had this little dog. You might be able to help me here. This little kind of white dog, I think. And again, it was similar. It was a kind of like a police crime in a really remote part of Scotland. I think it was actually filmed in Plockton. I'm pretty sure it's like filmed like in Plockton Way, something like that, over in the West Highlands near Skye. But I might be wrong. But it was a great TV show and really sweet, but incredibly enjoyable. And it was like a kind of thing that we used to watch as a family. So that was good. And if you're down that route, there's also Monarch of the Glen, I think. Again, I wasn't like the biggest fan, but I know some of my friends in school were really, really big fans. And there's a lady over in Canusi near Aviemore, and we stay with her sometimes, and she's got this really kind of cool boutique bed and breakfast, but high end sort of restaurant as well. And her name's Lady, and she's lovely. And she, I think her place is actually called the Old. It's called the Old Alliance after the French Connection there. And she used to do the food, like all the food, the TV food stuff for the Monarch of the Glen, and she was in. So you can go and see her if you were a big fan. It's a really cool place to go and stay, and we love her to pieces. There you go, Bonnie. You can see that. So if you're ever in Scotland, go to Canusie. Canusie's actually got an Outlander connection sort of nearby. It's near Newton Moor, and that's where they have the Highland Folk Museum. So that's where they did the walking of the wool when Claire goes and they need to use some urine to walk the wool. I don't know if you remember that scene. It was quite funny. And it was the Rent episode of Outlander. So if you're in that area, there's so much to do. And can you see as well, just there is also the Ruthven Barracks, which is a historic Scotland site, but it's free. You can just kind of go and walk around. So it's really cool. So it was filmed in Plockton. Yes, my memory served me well. So if I seen, oh my God, Take the High Road. Take the High Road was filmed in Luss, apparently. And I had a driver when I first started, and that's all he used to say. This is where they used to film Take the High Road. And I hardly remember it as well because I was quite young during that time. I just remember it was Susie Sweet from what's it called, Balamori, who was in that. I remember her in that. And where I live here in Greenock, just down the road, there's a place called Skelmerley, and there used to be this guy that used to ask me to go dancing, and his dad was in Take the High Road, and that was his claim to fame. But anyway, I didn't know who his dad was, so it was lost on me. Have you watched the movie Tin Fished filmed at Dunoon and Holy Loch? It's brilliant. I haven't actually. I look at Dunoon and the Holy Loch, as you could see from my other videos fairly recently. Let me just see. So, Tin Fish. Let me just have a wee look. Film. We did actually have a film here. It had Emma Thompson in it. I did not know that. 1990. I will need to give that a look in. Let me just have a quick look. We had another film filmed in Greenock called Sweet 16. It was a Ken Loach film, and it starred a guy called Martin Compston, who is a local boy from Greenock here. And Sweet 16, I mean, it's a typical Ken Loach film. It's very good. And Martin is brilliant in it. And you might recognise Martin. Martin was in something quite recently. What was that?
Isn't that drama?
It's like a TV police drama thing, and he's like a Cockney guy in it. But he is, a lot of people were surprised that he was actually Scottish. Let me just see. Line of Duty, that's it. He plays anti-corruption unit detective Sergeant Steve Arnott in the BBC crime drama Line of Duty. So that's Martin Compston. So he's a local boy here, and he was in that Sweet 16. Another film I've met him at our local Yes shop. He used to live round the corner from me. Anyway, we have another couple of films. In fact, we're kind of on the soaps section there as well. There's another TV soap at the moment in Scotland called River City, and it's been going for years now. I couldn't tell you how long. I remember it being around when I was still in school, I think, and that's kind of showing my age a wee bit. And it was about um, two years ago that I was first on it. So I've done River City as well. I was actually a police officer. I think I was a police officer the last time I was on it, which was quite hilarious because it looks like, you wear the proper full uniform. And yeah, there is something to be said for the power you get when you put that uniform on. It was a good laugh. And that is actually filmed near Dumbarton. And I know that they used to do studio kind of tours and things of that. I don't know if they're still doing that now. Another thing which actually apparently Sophie Skelton, and I'm just going to double check this because I remember seeing this years ago, so I've not looked at it for a while. And it was in yes, she was. So Sophie Skelton actually was in the town that I live because my old school was used for the filming of a TV show called Waterloo Road. So my school in Greenock, the Greenock Academy had, it was just full of asbestos. So they told us no more. Well, obviously after I had gone there. And they had built a new school. And so they had this school before they were going to knock it down, and Waterloo Road came and they used the school for another 2 years or so. And now it's gone completely. Thankfully. All those bad memories are now gone. No, I'm only kidding. I loved school. So if you're a big fan of Waterloo Road, and you'll notice Sophie was in that as well a couple of years ago. So let me just go back to that. What we were mentioning before. What other films did we mention? So we've had a wee chat about Outlander. There's some good things. I need to watch this Tin Fish because it looks like it might be a good one. And The Vanishing. Is that a new TV show? Let's go have a wee look. I'm going to see if I can recognise it because, as you might be aware, I am not often watching TV anymore. Oh, Gerard Butler. Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. I didn't know that's what it was called. They filmed some of that locally, and Kate, you should know that because you know that I like Gerard Butler, and I think it was you that told me he was in the Greenock area. Gerard Butler, he was filming that movie, The Vanishing, and they used the lighthouse, which is honestly, if I drive there, it takes me 5 minutes, not even to get there. A lighthouse called the Clough Lighthouse, which is a late 18th century lighthouse that sits right on the River Clyde. And they used that for that movie. And I totally missed it. Yeah, that's it, Laura. I've not watched it yet. I've been too scared to because I've heard mixed reviews about it. But no, and that kind of goes into Gerard Butler anyway. Gerard Butler also filmed a movie in Greenock. Weirdly, it all centres around where we are. We've been used for a lot of film and TV. There was a film that Gerard Butler was in a couple of years ago called Dear Frankie. And it was about this kind of relationship he has with this woman who's got a child who's deaf, I think. If I can remember rightly, I did go to the cinema to see it. And a lovely wee film, and Gerard Butler plays the main guy. And that was filmed, literally one of my school friends was here and we were watching it being filmed, and they used some of their close their closes for the filming, and obviously down the waterfront area in Greenock as well, near our cinema. And I went with my pal Aisling. This is quite a while ago. Before, I think this must have been before he made it big in 300. Is that right? Just shows you how much I pay attention to film and TV. I know Gerard, he lived in Paisley, which is the next kind of big town from where we are. And his mum now lives near Crieff, kind of Aberfeldy way. And I know that whenever I'm on tour, he's always about, and he tends to go to the Drovers Inn, which is almost a daily occurrence for us in the main season. And yeah, we just miss him usually by about 5-10 minutes. Same with Amy McDonald, the singer. We just always seem to miss these people. However, I did see the guy from, there's a TV show in Scotland, like a comedy show called Burniston. And I'm sure some of you who are watching this might remember the sketch when the two Scottish guys are in the elevator in the lift and they want to go to floor 11, and it's a voice activated elevator and they're going 11, 11, 11, and she can't understand what they're saying. Well, the baldy guy, I met him at the Drovers Inn once, and I met another Scottish comedian, Limmy, in Largs. So I was just walking to work, and there he came on his bike. So just random. I've not met anyone else I can think of. I think that's my famous Scottish people. Although I do have a really good story for you guys. There was about 30 years ago, maybe more, my grandfather was coming back to Scotland, and he just likes to gallivant around the place most of the time, and he got one of the buses from London back to Glasgow. And back then it was a fairly long drive, longer than it is now. And they all bunkered in, and he had his bottle of whiskey, and my grandfather was sitting next to this guy who he said was quite a heavy set man. They got chatting, young, very pleasant chap with his cans of beer. And so he gave a couple of cans of beer, my grandfather sharing his whiskey. This guy says, "Oh, I'm going to be an actor." You know, my grandfather's like, "Aye, right, so you are." Guess who it was? Any guesses? He spent the whole journey up with him sharing stories, beer and whiskey. And it was none other than a Mr. Robbie Coltrane, who plays Hagrid in the Harry Potter films, as well as Taggart, as well as oh God, he's done so many things, isn't he, Robbie Coltrane? But I thought that was one of the best stories ever. That's right, Des Clark. I met him. I actually did meet him, Laura. I maybe have met more famous people than I would like to think. I met Des Clark in Edinburgh in the Corn Exchange. We were doing a big Visit Scotland thing, and he was the presenter. So that was quite fun. I met the Miss Scotland as well. She was presenting recently. So I don't know if you've had any funny celebrity stories. There was one, actually. I've got another celebrity story about a lady I knew locally here. Sadly, she's no longer with us for about a good 10, 20 years. Wee Maggie, and she was a good friend of my granda. And she always told the story. She used to work in a pub, and she was walking down the street, and this guy drives up right beside her, rolls down the window and says, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Largs golf course?" And she went, "Well, it's away down there." And yeah, it was Sean Connery asking for directions. So I don't know. Don't know. It's just one of those funny things. Getting back to films. At the Lochfine Oyster Bar, we go there quite often. I've never met him there either. Um, I need to start my celebrity hunting a bit better now, I think. I have met quite a few just being on set for TV programs. I was recently I was filming a couple of months ago for the TV show The Crown. Um, I I had to sign my life away, so I can't go into too much information about who I was on set with. But it was quite a significant actor, thankfully, and he was a lovely, down to earth guy. So the moment that that airs, I will come back and let you know. But I have met the girl who plays the original Queen because I filmed for season 2 as well. She was a lovely girl. She just sat with us, and the other guy, Matt Smith, I think it was. I don't pay attention to these things. As you know, I'm rubbish with names. Um, and Yeah, that was a good laugh. And a really good TV show actually to be part of Netflix. They really treated us well. Um, so I was called again just before this whole virus thing came about, and I was due to go for my fitting, and they had to cancel all future filming. So that was a bummer. But hopefully, once everything clears up, I might be back. Fingers crossed, or fingers crossed. So I can't kind of leave this chat without going into two more other films, which is the first one would be Rob Roy. So if you haven't watched these movies, I would strongly recommend that you do. Rob Roy is played by Liam Neeson. And apart from some of the actors obviously not being Scottish, the actual fact it was filmed in Scotland, I mean, it was filmed in Glencoe, it was filmed by Loch Lomond. Beautiful filming, actually. Lovely adaptation, I think, of The Man, and it went into probably one of the biggest and most hated villains, aside from Black Jack Randall, and that is Tim Roth. He was just absolutely spectacular in that film. So if you do get a chance, watch it. I can watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it. I'm just one of those people. I love my favorite films tend to be period films, and TV shows, which is why I think I loved Outlander so much. I just love that whole going back into the past sort of element in everything that I watch. Um, and that's why I also love one of my favorite films is I love like Dances with Wolves, and I like The Patriot, weirdly enough, which is going to lead into our next film. And one of my all-time favourites is Last of the Mohicans as well. So I know these are not Scottish, but if you're looking for something to watch, there's a Scottish element in it, and I just love that film. So I'm gonna maybe watch it over the next couple of days while I'm looking for something to do. But we can't leave this chat without talking about Braveheart. It was probably one of the greatest films. Massive Hollywood Oscar-winning blockbuster. And although a lot of people say to me, it's factually incorrect, I know I'm watching a TV show. I'm not watching a documentary. I'm watching a film, which is going to dramatize elements and so on and so forth. And I personally, and most Scots will say this, and I think most people around the world, we do just love that film. It gives us a sense of pride and national identity, and it's something that I did speak about. I recently did a big blog article, and I interviewed the guy who plays Robert the Bruce, Angus McFadden, about it, because he had just released a new movie about Bruce as well. And the reason why Braveheart was such a big hit is because there was nothing quite like it before that. Nothing which took an element or a piece of Scottish history and made a film about it. Most things had been very kind of twee and romanticized, maybe over romanticized before that point. So it was quite an completely eye-opening experience for a lot of Scottish people to see an element of their history shown on screen, albeit it's not always historically accurate, but it did keep to the core message of what Wallace was, and he was the guardian of Scotland, and a lot of what has been told and retold down the lines has made the man more of a legend than an actual real guy. So it's a really emotive film. It showcases a side of Edward I's brutal occupation in Scotland, and it was just wonderful to be able to hear and see Scotland. However, I say see Scotland, from my understanding, the majority of the filming took place in Northern Ireland, and a lot of the cast were actually Irish. And I think that was to take away from Mel Gibson's attempt at a Scottish accent. I don't know. Funny enough, the only guy to play an Irishman in it was actually a Scotsman. So it was, well, it was a really good show. And yeah, I enjoyed it immensely and still do. Every now and then I will put it on, and it's like comfort food. It just reminds me of my childhood, because that's what I was watching when I was a kid. And it's obviously inspired everything else that we know today, and partly which is why things like Outlander have had such an impact in the Scottish psyche, is, or rather, why they were afraid that you would have a Braveheart effect with Outlander so close to an election. It was supposedly disallowed for the Scottish people to have a look. Oh my God, Laura, I can't believe I forgot that. Oh, we were just talking about that the other day. Highlander, another, my favourite. Highlander. Highlander was filmed mainly at Glencoe, was it? Glencoe, Elandonan Castle, and I think Glenshiel, was it not? No, Glenfinnan, wasn't it? There's something around there. Maybe not Glenfinnan.
But the trees that you see there, they've never been hacked off for that new visitor centre.
Oh, the trees are gone now, folks. Do I look, so if I sit like this? Yes. I look more cool and confident like that. So yeah, the thing about Highlander was, again, it was a little bit twee, but I mean, well, that was actually before Braveheart in saying that, but it was kind of more sci-fi-ish. So it wasn't really anything to do with the Scottish history. It was more to do with, Highland people in kilts. There can only be one New York City, that kind of stuff. So although Connor, wasn't it Connor? Or I know there is a Connor MacLeod from the Clan MacLeod. Is it Connor? Please help me here? Yeah? Yeah, he's I've now got no more assistance. He's not listening to me anymore.
I keep thinking that Connor was the guy in the series.
Is it McLeod? No, that was Duncan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is Connor then.
It's Connor, yeah.
I knew it.
Connor, see, yeah, because she goes, Connor. Yeah, that's it. And she was called Heather, which takes us on to Poldark, which has got nothing to do with Scotland, but the girl who played the girl who played Heather in Highlander was in Poldark, and she plays that. What's her name again? I'm just rubbish tonight. Thank you, Kate. It's Duncan in the TV series Helmet. Purdy, is it Purdy? Purdy, Poldark. Yes, Prudy, sorry, Prudy. Prudy and Poldark, if you watch that, it's the same actress who was Heather in Highlander. So go and have a wee watch. I just love Queen anyway. And I don't know, I might actually get into trouble for this. Do you think I'm going to get into trouble for this? Because you know how they don't like copyrighted music and that coming through. But I think I'm just going to end our session with this because it's just beautiful. Oh, there you go, Bonnie. So you'll know. You'll know that it's Prudy was Heather. So I'm just going to put this up here and you can listen to Queen doing the Highlander soundtrack. But as usual, folks, it is. There you go. I love Poldark as well. Like Cornwall is the next place I'm going. But this song just gets me so emotional whenever I watch it. And if you go on to Facebook, and not Facebook, YouTube, you'll see that somebody's made this like Heather compilation. And it's just like, oh, and then he just goes, Heather, and then that's all. So, yeah, have a wee look. But thank you so much for taking part. And next time, we've been going on now for 42 minutes talking about Outland, Rob Roy, Liam Neeson, Martin Compston, everything. Next time we'll do another similar edition, and we can all do our homework and come in with really cool, fascinating, unknown facts about film and TV in Scotland, i.e. Kanye West filmed a music video on Sky, apparently. I don't know which video. I'm not a big Kanye West fan. But that's that. You've also got the Avengers. And then if you're looking to binge just before we finish, on Netflix, you've got The Outlaw King, which is another film about Robert the Bruce, which is played by Chris Pine. And I really enjoyed it. Absolutely. And second, we had the Mary Queen of Scots film, which stars Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie. It's also got Martin Compston in it. He plays Bothwell, I think it was, in the show. So please go and watch it. Oh, one more. This, please forgive me, everybody watching, forgive me. But one of my guilty secrets and guilty pleasures is Rain. If you've not watched Rain yet, watch it. It's not in any way historically accurate about Mary Queen of Scots. There are elements there but I just loved it so much. And I think personally, if Mary was watching it, she'd love it too. The costuming, the actresses, everybody's just absolutely beautiful. The, the cast, the chap who plays Francis, everybody just watch it. It is a guilty pleasure. Do not think you're going to get any sort of historical facts from it. But the acting I personally found to be excellent. So do give it a watch. I think it might still be on Netflix. If not, I'm sure you'll find it somewhere. And let me know what you thought about it. This up here, just behind my head, if you can see it there, just before I go, that's my lovely leopard that Helmut painted, just in case you're wondering about the lovely paintings behind me. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. As usual, it's been amazing. Thank you for taking part. If you haven't watched it, I see Taylor. Sorry that you missed it live. You can still watch it and just watch my random chat about as many Scottish films and TV that I could think of at one time. And please, oh yes, don't forget Tin Fish. So Tin Fish, I'm definitely going to watch that. And we'll come back to this next Wednesday and see how far we are, if there's anything else that people can recommend people watch, maybe sequels, maybe elements of Scottish history, maybe something slightly older, because there's a lot. There is so much, even if it's not filmed here, but it's about elements of Scotland. Even if it's got like a wee Scottish bit in it, please do join in. And if you have kids, search up Balamori for the kids, and Brave. If you haven't watched Brave yet, which I'm sure most of you have, you can watch Brave. But a really great one of my, in fact, I have had 3 kids and we watched all of them together. Since my brother was small, we've watched a TV show called Balamori, which is about a place called Tobermory. And whenever I go to Tobermory, I'm like, oh, where's Archie's house? But Archie's house isn't there. Apparently that was filmed in Maryhill in Glasgow. So I've been told. But go and watch Balamori just for the laughs. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I don't know what that one is, Kate, but I'm going to search it up. Thank you for your time again. I promise I will go this time. Again, see you all soon. See you tomorrow. I have another topic. And just to get you all ready for Friday, I'm going to do ghosts on Friday. So we're going to do Scottish ghosts and ghost stories. So get yourself all prepared, and I'll be doing it about 10 o'clock at night. Just for the half hour, we can come and have our wee ghost story session. Okay, so tomorrow I will announce the subject. Last thing but not least, the winning photo was actually, as most people guessed correctly, it was in fact of Alloway. It was taken from the Brigadoon looking down the River Doon. So yes, congratulations to you all. And I'll put the other one on today. So thank you very much. See you later, and take care, stay safe, and tune in tomorrow. Cheers, bye.